transformations of consciousness are, regardless of what kind you're speaking of, why we have them, what they're for, and where they lead us, and it's not where you think.
That's for sure.
It's not where most people think. If you look at the larger genre, and I think we all must, I think the time has come to get out of these little footholds and little slots that we're in and look at the whole picture. If you look at the whole picture, what do these episodes, what do they do? Well, they improve the human animal, the human species. We're smarter than before. We're kinder than before. We're more capable, more intuitive, more inventive, more innovative, more clever than we were before. It's an incredible improvement on the human species that moves us back into the natural flow of living on the earth plane. You get enough of us, groups of us, that have gone through this shift and gone through this change, and then it uplifts and changes society. It uplifts and helps nature. It changes everything. If you do a study of history, you can go back and see how when large groups of people went through these kinds of shifts, then we got the Renaissances. There's been many Renaissances, not just the one in Europe. And they all have come from the people having made this kind of shift. If you look at that again and really study the dynamics here, then you can say transformations of consciousness are a biological imperative. It is how the human race evolves, expands, and grows. It is a biological imperative.
That is really beautifully said. I have more questions, but I almost want to wrap up the show on what you just said. What's next for you, P.M.H.? Are you teaching? Are you doing seminars?
No. I was shown. Well, I'll do what the public wants me to do as far as talks and teaching and that kind of stuff. But as far as goals, my own personal goals, last spring, so I was talking about the spring of 2010, shortly after, the word came through from the other side, that is to say my guidance, 2 years ago, said it's now time to wrap up my work and, finish my near-death work. And it took me a whole year to get in the consciousness of accepting that. And then in 2010, I did it, summarized all the work, and came up with Near-Death Experiences, the Rest of the Story. And after I had done the book, sold to a publisher, then I was given an incredible vision, not a dream, vision. And in that vision, I was shown that I had 6 more major books to write. I mean, I can write as many books as I want, of course, but 6 more. And I was shown what 5 of these books were and given the titles for them. So they're now on the sofa in my office, piles of each of these books, and a big piece of paper on top of it, great big color, the titles of each, and I'm starting to build the information for them. And one of those I'm on now, and it is my last big research book. And it will complete the series of books I've been writing on the new children. My first one was The New Children and Near-Death Experiences. The second one was Beyond the Indigo Children. Please notice the word beyond. and I'm now working on my third and last about the new children, evolution of the human species, time cycles. I'm on chapter 7 of that book and had to put it to one side to promote this book. But eventually I'll get back to it. And then after that, the first book I'm writing after that big research book is a memoir. I thought, well,
I think definitely
maybe finally I can do something simple.
Memoirs usually aren't simple.
Memoir. I'm going to be writing 2 of them, and another very special book I will not discuss at this time. And we'll see where it goes from there. It's like the door is really open for talks and workshops. If you're talking about classes, my little mind is saying, classes? What on earth would you want me to teach you?
Sounds very exciting. One last question before we let you go.
Oh, okay.
Why do the dead hover in ceiling corners before moving on?
We have no idea.
What do you think that's about?
Last look. And there's something about a corner that draws you because you have so much protection. All 4 ways, plus the slant of viewing what's below you from a corner is so much better than being right above or to one side. It gives you a much better perspective of what you're viewing. So maybe that's why.
I want to share something with you about my dad's passing.
Okay.
The instructions that were left at Cedars-Sinai were to call immediately upon his passing because we didn't know exactly when he would pass. He organized and designed his own passing and timeline. He wanted to pass at the time that he organized it. My mother had Alzheimer's, and he had taken care of her for like 5 years and was really ready to go himself. This often happens, by the way, with families. So he passed, we got the call, and I went into the room 20 minutes after he had been, quote, gone. I went in with my girlfriend and sat down, and I just turned to her and said, don't worry about what I'm about to say or do right now. Just know that I know what to do. So I took my father's hand, and I started talking with him. First, I touched his third eye, his hands, his knees, his feet, etc. Sat down on the chair next to him and started to talk with him. First of all, he looked incredible. You would never know that he was dead. And as I started to talk with him, about 20 minutes into talking with him, because I operated like his spirit or something of him is still in the room.
Mm-hmm.
The room got so hot when I started to say what I needed to say at that particular time.
That's what happens. Yeah.
My girlfriend turned to me and said, oh my God, this room is so hot. He's definitely hearing you. Anyway, I was there 2 hours. I finished. I did what I did, and I left. But I know that my father heard me, even though in the clinical sense that his body was supposedly clinically dead for at least 20 minutes, because I got there within 20 minutes. I drove pretty fast, by the way. I was way up in Laurel Canyon. So I wanted to share with you that was a really remarkable thing, because one of the deals I had with my dad before he passed is I said to him, now, I'm going to call upon you even when you're not physically here anymore. I said, I'm a global rainmaker. I'm not just in broadcasting. I'm a global rainmaker, and I want to open up rainmaking all over the world so that people are bringing things about. I said, your mission is not done here. When you cross over, I need you to open doors all over the world for me that I can't open. Do we have a deal? He laughed, and he never believed in any of this, and he said, yes. I said, okay, I'm going to hold you to it. Even though he was laying there clinically dead, I know my father heard me.
I wish everybody would do that.
It was so profound.
Yeah.
So profound. And, in the Jewish tradition, you're not supposed to cremate, but he wanted to be cremated. So I ended up taking his ashes. Actually, I did an interview